The DNC has proved once again that it is not representative of its voters. By recently, and it showed how they don't represent the voters, by recently voting down an amendment that would have inserted a plank supporting Medicare for all into the party's 2020 platform. So this is a meeting of the platform committee. And so what it is basically to affirm what Democrats believe, what the Democratic Party essentially stands for. And apparently, they do not stand for Medicare for all. In fact, the DNC platform committee rejected this amendment introduced by single-payer advocate Michael Leidy by an overwhelming margin. It's not like this was close, right? It was a vote of 36 for, 125 opposed, against. Let me show you video of that vote.
Members, voting has closed on this amendment. The motion was not approved by the members, and the language as proposed will remain unchanged. There were 36 yes, 125 no, and 3 abstentions. That's on Amendment 328, 194.
So again, that was the count of the vote for the Medicare for All amendment to the plank, not even voting for the actual piece of legislation, which they won't take up in the House where the Democrats control it. And so it's shameful. It's pathetic. During a pandemic, and you're going to vote against supporting Medicare for all. It's literally saying that, we as a party, like this is what this would say. We as a party support Medicare for all, but they couldn't even do that. They couldn't. But the shame continues. It gets worse. The committee also voted down separate attempts to include support for expanding Medicare to children. So no protecting the children, right? Dropping the Medicare eligibility age from 65 to 55. You guys remember when that was Hillary Clinton's plan? Where she said, oh yeah, let's drop the Medicare eligibility age. That was Hillary Clinton's plan. Hillary Clinton is in the left of this. Hillary Clinton. More. Also probably to the left of people when it comes to the children, because she actually did get CHIP, right? The Children's Health Insurance Plan. And so that was incredibly helpful for children. Not only that, but they also voted against legalizing marijuana. What are you doing? You can't even say that you support legalizing cannabis when the vast majority of the country says, yes, let's legalize cannabis. Over 75%, 3/4 of the country support legalizing weed. Come on, dude. Really? What is wrong with you? What are you doing? Massive public support, and you can't get behind it. Medicare for all, by the way. Medicare for all. Among the party. Now, you would think by this vote, 36 to 125, that this is like, oh man, not a popular issue among the Democratic voters, right? Democratic voters are firm in saying that we love our insurance companies, we love premiums, we love copays, keep everything the same, get a public option like Joe Biden says, but make sure that it's the most conservative version of Joe Biden, the most conservative version of a public option that we can possibly get, right? Or just do nothing and kind of work around the edges and fix the ACA. But that's not the case. 88% of Democratic voters, say yes, let's do Medicare for all. And these guys literally decided we can't put that in the plank. Nope, too radical, can't do it. Well, then what do you stand for, Democrats? What does the Democratic Party stand for? What? If not for policy that's popular among the vast majority of its own voters, what do you stand for? Nothing. Now, the draft version of the platform does include one single mention of Medicare for all, but it says it doesn't endorse the policy. Let me give you this mealy-mouthed bullshit. Quote, generations of Democrats have been united in the fight for universal health care. We are proud our party welcomes advocates who want to build on and strengthen the Affordable Care Act and those who support a Medicare for all approach. All are critical to ensuring that healthcare is a human right. But you're not doing it. What have you done to ensure healthcare is a human right? What have you done? Nothing. Nothing. You stand for nothing at all. Pathetic, weak, sad. That's what it is. Now, Medicare for All advocates, of course, expressed outrage on social media by saying this. First, we're going to quote YouTube host of Secular Talk, Kyle Kalinske. He tweeted, "History will not judge this kindly. It's like opposing the New Deal during the Great Depression. Unforgivable." Again, we have a pandemic where people who do survive from coronavirus are left with massive hospital bills. So there's that. Winnie Wong, former senior advisor to Senator Bernie Sanders' campaign, tweeted this, that she couldn't even imagine what went on in the heads of those 125 DNC platform committee members who voted Medicare for All down. Quote, "Today, now when the country is in the death grip of a global pandemic, people are dying because they can't afford the upkeep of their sick care. Shameful." Yeah, again, if you get coronavirus and you're poor, good luck. You can face bankruptcy due to medical bills and lifelong damage to your body that may require expensive lifelong treatments. But I guess just let them die. It's easier, apparently. In an op-ed for Common Dreams on Tuesday, RootsAction.org co-founder Jeff Cohen also wrote that the fact that our nation is the only advanced industrial country without universal health care cannot be blamed on Republican obstruction alone. It was also caused by Democratic leaders who spent decades catering to corporate interests while collecting campaign donations and refusing to fight for universal coverage. This history of Democratic obstruction and vacillation is why hundreds of elected delegates to next month's Democratic convention have finally put their foot down. So now, as of yesterday, you had 325 delegates saying, hey, we're not at all interested in approving this platform unless you put Medicare for All in. That number is now up to 600. Now, most of the delegates that will be going to the convention that have signed this pledge not to ratify the platform as is without Medicare for All mostly belong to the Sanders camp. However, you also have Biden supporters that have signed on as well, saying, well, hell no, wait a minute. We can't even sign a plank to the Democratic Party platform that says we, in theory, support Medicare for All. Wow. So look, if you can't vote in favor of universal health care during a global pandemic and a recession that has left millions of voters, millions of Americans without employer-sponsored insurance, then there's no hope for you. There's no hope for the party. What are you there for? By the way, while they were doing all this, one thing that they did approve, the DNC platform actually overwhelmingly supported the use of Israeli settlement, the building of Israeli settlements in Palestinian territory. Go right-wing government of Israel. Yay, Netanyahu, they say. Yeah. Oh, we're listening to progressives, they said. We're listening to the base. We hear you guys. We want to hear you. We want to listen. We want you to join us. Well, to be fair, they only said we want you, that they hear us, right? That they want to listen. Not that they would actually care and represent the will of the people. So now I want to go back to a tweet here from Emma Vigeland, right? So now Emma Vigeland tweeted out this story from Common Dreams, and she basically said, quote, "Progressives are struggling to gain leverage as Biden surges, and the DNC is rubbing our faces in it." Well, she's absolutely right. That's what they are. But it made me remember one of her earlier tweets about the Lincoln Project. And you might be thinking, wait, what does the Lincoln Project have to do with this, right? Well, let me lay that down, right? And it kind of explain. So now, the Lincoln Project has released blistering ad after blistering ad, right, against Donald Trump. And I love those ads. I enjoy them personally, right? I love those ads. These are great. But in doing so, in doing those ads that hit Trump so heavily, they've also provided material support to Joe Biden's campaign. So now it's what we were talking about when it comes to influence peddling, right? So now this super PAC, because that's what it is, right? The Lincoln Project is basically influencing the Biden campaign with its ads, with its support, right? So now what has Bernie Sanders given to the Biden campaign? Other than the promise to try to bring voters over to him, progressive voters. Well, nothing materially. Bernie Sanders, to his credit, is not giving over his email list. He's like, no, the DNC, you can't have this. No, it's my email list. All right. I'm going to use this to further progressive causes because I know what you would use it for, and it would be to support centrist moderate candidates. You can't have the email list. And so they look at that and say, well, nuts to you then. I don't really care. I don't really care what you want. You want Medicare for all? American people want Medicare for all? No, we're not interested in that. Not interested at all. In fact, the Lincoln Project, as I said, they're more ideologically aligned to Joe Biden than Bernie Sanders is. I know it sounds crazy, right? Somebody like Rick Wilson, right? But no, Biden is more ideologically aligned with someone like Rick Wilson and Steve Schmidt than Bernie Sanders. And let me give you a couple of examples as why. Rick Wilson and Bill Kristol, they championed the Iraq War. Joe Biden voted for the Iraq War and for a long time supported the Iraq War. Both Biden and Wilson, they don't support Medicare for all or even universal health care. They're both pro Netanyahu, who's a right winger, and they both hate Trump. Biden was already predisposed to the right wing. He was the most conservative Democrat running in the primary. And all the other Democrats who had a lot of, some of them had more progressive positions, dropped and supported Joe Biden against Bernie Sanders, who was the most left person in the race. And so they all said, well, we can't have that. I think a lot of those, progressive, I think a lot of those people that were feigning to be progressive, people like Pete Buttigieg and not Amy Klobuchar, she was already pretty right-wing, but Kamala Harris, they were all going to shift to the right massively during the general anyway. Joe Biden doesn't have to do that because he's already there. He's already to the right. And so he's already predisposed. And now with help from these prominent never Trump conservatives, basically cemented their alliance. They've stopped Bernie Sanders. They've stopped the movement for progressive policies. And they stopped them from having any sort of influence over the party establishment. They now serve the right wing. I mean, look at who the platform is trying to make, trying to appeal to. It's not progressives. It's not the 88% of Democratic voters who support Medicare for all. No, who they're trying to, who they're trying to reach out to, again, is the white suburban Republican who hates Donald Trump. That's what it is. They think Donald Trump is bad because he's rude and uncouth on Twitter, but generally support the right-wing policies. And that's it. A vote for Joe Biden is not a vote for a progressive. It's a vote against Donald Trump. And that's really the most charitable way that you could frame it. Donald Trump, actual fascist. So yeah, we should probably vote against him. I'm going to, at least. I'm not going to tell you how to vote, but that's the way I'm going. I'm going to vote against Donald Trump's fascism. But understand that a vote for Biden is not a vote for anybody who's really all that progressive and who's going to change the system, right? This is not to try to dissuade you from voting for Joe Biden or to say that Donald Trump's better. He's clearly not. But I just want everyone to be aware who you're voting for. And I'm not saying all of Joe Biden's policies are bad or policy positions that he stated are bad. I mean, his, plan on climate change, needed. Not as bold as I'd like, but definitely better than what we have now. and a little bit better than I think what we had from a Barack Obama. But still, it's evidence that we do not have in this country a progressive party. The Democratic Party is not progressive. The Democratic Party is conservative. And so what we have are two conservative parties in this country. We have a center-right party, and we have a massively insane fascist party in this country. And so just aware that at this moment, those are the options. And maybe we should start building some new ones.